Okay, so Prateek, let's proceed ahead with your mock for Power Grid Corporation of India Limited, and you are going for legal officer post. So me and Saklani sir will proceed ahead with your mock, right? So
Okay,
we
sir.
start with your very brief introduction, Prateek, whether in Hindi or English. आप अपना introduction दीजिए.
Okay, sir. So my name is good afternoon, sir. My name is Prateek Naval Virk. I belong to Patiala district of Punjab. My father is a retired professor and my mother is a government school teacher. I have done my schooling from Patiala itself, and thereafter I have pursued BA LLB honors from Rajiv Gandhi National University of Law, Punjab. Post my graduation, I have been preparing for different government and PSU examinations and simultaneously practicing as an advocate in Patiala district courts. My hobbies are reading and watching Japanese anime.
Japanese
Anime.
anime. What is that?
So anime is a Japanese term for animation. So the anime that animations that are produced in Japan, they are called anime, and they are very different from the typical American cartoon characters that we witness because they pay very high attention to detail and they have a very rich history, and which can be dated back to 1917 when the first anime was created. So yes, sir.
तो ये historical होता है क्या होता है ये? This is some
Sir,
story or what?
Sir, it is usually fictional, but then there are movies which are made historically also. For example, sir, in the 2013 movie The Wind Rises, it was essentially the autobiography of Hidoshi Jirokochi, the person who created the AG-6M aircraft, which was popularly known as Zero in World War II of Japan.
Okay.
So he was an aeronautical engineer.
तो तुम वो नहीं देखते हो पोकेमोन डोरेमोन? मेरे बच्चे
Sorry,
वो देखते हैं, वो जापानीज ही है सर.
Yes, sir. These are also Japanese anime.
तो उसी की बात कर रहे हो?
Sir, they have different range. Yes, sir. So
Okay.
these are for kids, then there are for teenage animes, and then they're for young adults animes.
ओके. अच्छा प्रतीक, अभी ये बताओ कि आपने लॉ कब किया है नेशनल लॉ यूनिवर्सिटी से?
Sir, I passed in July of 2020.
और उसके बाद से क्या कर रहे हैं आप?
Sir, post that initially I started preparing for civil services examination, and I just got myself enrolled in the Bar Council in the month of August. However, till June of 2021, I was solely focusing on my civil service examinations because because of the COVID pandemic, the courts were closed. So that was the only thing that I had at that time. And post the courts have opened. And during my preparation, so what I realized was that I wanted to do something in my own field, that is the legal field. So I decided that the best option for me would be to join a public sector undertaking. So I have been preparing for that.
आप सिविल सर्विसेज के लिए तैयारी कर रहे हैं, फिर अपनी फील्ड में कैसे काम करेंगे आप अगर आप सिविल सर्वेंट बनते हैं तो?
Sir, I left it post June 2021. So post that I have been preparing for the public sector.
जुडिशियल सर्विसेज के लिए एग्जाम के लिए तैयारी नहीं किया क्या?
No, sir.
Why not?
Sir, I have three reasons. Number one, sir, I don't find the job profile of a judge as exciting as a PSU officer because number one, in an adversarial system wherein we live in India, judges have a passive role. So the main role is delegated to the advocates, and judges have only a very limited role in that entire process. So, sir, I, as a person, want to be in that active role. So I feel, this is the issue. Second, I believe, sir, in judiciary, a person's level of intellect continues to stagnate because his domain is very limited to legal issues. Whereas in case you join a public sector undertaking, you understand the basics and the vitals of the commercial operations of a public sector undertaking. What are the economic rationales behind the undertaking, and get to learn much more than merely legal knowledge. So you get a very diversified knowledge base, and you continue to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Whereas
the ultimate objective of any job is not to learn, it is to contribute. I want to know that how do you want to contribute in Power Grid? Suppose you join us as legal officer. What is there in your mind? In which domain direction can you contribute in the growth of maybe organization, or in any way you want to contribute?
So the major litigations of a transmission company are land acquisitions and right of way litigations. So in the right of way litigations, the issues essentially relate to how the contract is first of all managed, and then how the risk is evaluated. Because what essentially happens is, because of the right of way issues, the projects are often delayed, this which leads to financial losses. So the contracts need to be planned in an integrated manner, so the all that concerns, environmental concerns, the concerns of the persons over whose land the transmission lines are to be laid, everything has to be integrately planned. And secondly, the contract execution stage has to be monitored very closely. And lastly, sir, the risk management, so that we get the best price for the contract, and at the same time the risk is mitigated to the largest extent. So everything can be done when you draft the agreements and the contracts in a manner that it benefits the company. So
आप मेरे को types of contract बता सकते हैं?
Sir, there are different types of contracts. For example, there can be normal contracts, which are personal contracts. Then there can be commercial contracts. Commercial contracts have, then there are standard forms of contracts. So do I have to explain each type of contracts also?
No, you just name it.
Okay, sir. So the third is the standard form of contract. Then the quasi contracts, and then there are statutory contracts.
Okay, when one public sector enters in contract with another public sector, what type of contract is that?
Sir, they are entered. Two corporations are entering, so it is a commercial contract.
Are you sure about that?
Indeed, sir.
Okay. So can you tell me the ways to resolve the conflict in any organization, and what is the best way to do that?
So the best way is to firstly hear both the sides alone, what are their issues, and then to identify what are the core issues on which they have the least amount of conflict. First resolve those issues, and then bring both the parties on the table. Once you have found those core issues, once those issues core are resolved, you can give bargain to both of the parties, so that both of them feel happy that they have got something, and not either of the parties have overtaken the or has got the better chunk of the bargain. So this makes both the parties happy. So you need to understand the basic needs.
So Pratik, why you think you are a suitable candidate for this particular profile?
Sir, I believe that any organization wants honesty, dedication, loyalty, and at the same time perseverance in an individual. And I, sir, have all those four traits which are essential for any organization to be considered as an employee.
Okay, over to you, Virendra sir.
Okay, Pratik. So do you have the organization that you're aspiring for, that is PGCIL, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea of the profile of this organization?
Yes, sir.
So very briefly, can you let me know?
Yes, sir. So Power Grid Corporation of India Limited is a statutory organization that was established in 1989. It is under the Ministry of Power and is a Maharatna PSU. It is a central transmission company and transmits nearly 50% of the total power generated in India. Further, sir, it has expertise in the domain of telecom as well as consultancy vis-a-vis the matters of transmission. And also currently it has started to build the EV infrastructure for the future electric vehicles that will be there on the roads of India.
Okay. So you said that, okay, it is a statutory organization, right?
Yes, sir.
So do you know what is the difference between a constitutional any authority and a statutory authority?
Yes, sir.
How they are different?
Sir, when the organization has been created by the constitutional itself, for example, the UPSC is a body that, or the Election Commission of India, these are the bodies that have been created by the constitution itself. So these are the constitutional bodies. When the body is created by a legislation of the parliament or the state legislature, it becomes a statutory or a legislative body. Or not a legislative, sorry, sir, statutory body.
Okay. So how much did you tell about the, you told me about the PGCIL role in total transmission of power. So how much did you tell them?
About 50%, sir.
And remaining 50%?
Sir, I believe there are private sector players also who are transmitting, and I believe there may be, because in Punjab we have the Punjab State Transmission Corporation Limited, so there must be state transmission companies also.
So do you have any idea of the challenges that are this sector is basically facing?
Sir,
electricity transmission sector is facing.
Sir, as I stated, the biggest challenge is the right of way litigations and the arbitration cases. because what happens is that in these cases the projects are delayed. So this is the contractual aspect which can be held by a person who belongs to a legal background. So far as the technological issues are concerned, sir, I believe so. The first of all is the transmission loss that is faced by these companies, because from the generating side to the power substations, electrical substations, there is loss of electricity. So technological upgradation can mitigate that loss. And secondly, sir, I believe the biggest issue for any transmission company right now is the losses that are faced by distribution companies because of the subsidies that are offered by the state governments, because those subsidies are not paid to the state by the state governments to the distribution companies, and hence they're unable to clear the backlog of the transmission and generating companies. So this has caused a very big financial problem.
In terms of losses, do you have any idea in terms of percentage?
Sir, I'm not really sure exactly of Power Grid, but I remember that the transmission losses should be less than 20%.
Mm-hmm. So 20% is going to happen in any case. That's what you're saying, right?
So that was the objective when Prime Minister Narendra Modi initiated I am forgetting the name of the scheme, sir. So that was the basic objective, the 20%.
So any major legal issue that PGCIL is facing right now?
Sir, as I stated, the right of ways litigation, that is the major issue.
Okay. No, they're involved into any particular incident that you want to highlight? Any idea? These are the general, okay, that you're telling, okay, there will be a lot of such things that you may have to handle. But in general, if anything, major issue which is going through in terms of legality.
So legality, as far as I am concerned, sir, in the past 2 years, there has not been any major Supreme Court judgment in which PGCIL was involved.
Okay. So have you any update on the recent presidential election?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
so
sir.
who elected the presidents?
So Draupadi Murmu.
Okay. So who gives the oath to the incumbent president?
So the Chief Justice of India.
If he is not there, then?
The senior most judge of the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm. And what about the, let's say, if it is vice president, then?
So the oath of the vice president is given by the president.
Sure.
I'm not really sure, sir. It can be the Chief Justice of India also. I'm not really sure. I believe that it is the Chief Justice of India, I think.
Sorry?
I believe it is the Chief Justice of India.
Okay, so what are your key strengths, Prateek?
I beg your pardon, sir?
What are your key strengths?
Sir, my strengths are honesty, perseverance, dedication, sincerity, and hard worker.
And any one major weakness?
I have 3-4 major weaknesses. Number one, sir, I am a workaholic, so I work even at the compromise of my own health. Secondly, sir, I am too meticulous. So I am the type of person which we in Hindi call balki khalu dehna. So I tend to delve a lot into matters. Thirdly, sir, I am too honest. So sometimes I show a little bit of less practicalness. And lastly, sir, I am a little too emotional, especially in my personal relationships. I forgive and trust people easily.
Mm. So do you think that your true honesty is going to have impact on the cases that we are having?
I believe no, sir, because the contract, the legal, as a lawyer or a legal officer, your first aim is not to merely win the case for the company. It is at the same time to be ethical to your own profession. So that ethical professional as well as to winning the company, both are going to be on the same side. So it can never be that you may win the case also and you may lie also, because in court there can never be lies. You will be exposed, sir. The documentary evidence, the oral evidence, everything will be stacked against you. So honesty is the key to win a case. You can never lie on these matters.
Mm. Okay. Okay, so I think, Prateek, now we can give you the feedback, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me just start from my side first. So see, overall it seems okay, right? So like presentation is okay, and why you want to get into also, that part seems to be okay also, right? So just whatever is going right currently, like whatever is in news, I think, which could be related to your domain, just pay attention to that. That part you have to. Weakness part, I think it will be better that you just focus. Not you said too many things, right? You are saying 3-4 weaknesses. Try to limit it, right? And too honesty, I think maybe sometimes it becomes difficult to justify, right?
Okay,
So
sir.
rather than saying too honesty, you can just
especially for lawyer.
for a lawyer. So I think that part, ethical and winning, that sounds good, but practicality, that is not the too honest thing, doesn't exist. That you also know. So I think try to avoid this part.
Okay, sir, I will
Right?
remove it.
And I think two will be. You can just pick any other two that you think.
Workaholic and meticulousness.
Yes, that would be fine. Okay. Okay. So I think rest to Dr. Vijender now.
प्रतीक, आप तो यार पटियाला में लॉ प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो, वो आपने बोला नहीं आज।
बोला सर,
आपने बोला कि मैं प्रैक्टिस कर रहा हूँ।
यस सर,
तो मिस हो गया। और ये सिविल सर्विसेज एग्जाम बीच में क्यों ले आए आप?
सर क्योंकि रीजन ये है कि मुझे ये कि एग्जैक्ट जैसे आपने बोला था पूरा ऑनेस्ट प्रोफाइल देना चाहिए जो आप कर रहे थे।
नहीं, टू ऑनेस्टी इज अ बैड थिंग यार, इतना थोड़ी बोला था मैंने। देखो सिविल सर्विस की तुम तैयारी कर रहे थे, फिर छोड़ दी तुमने। और सिविल सर्विसेज के लिए जो बंदा के कीड़ा लगा होता है ना, वो अलग टाइप का होता है। सिविल सर्विस मेरे को लगता है डालना चाहिए तुम्हें।
तो सर मैं अब भी ऑनेस्टली सर कर तो अब भी रहा हूँ, तो
हाँ, तो ये पता लग जाएगा ना उनको।
हाँ
जो तुमने नहीं बताया, इतनी ऑनेस्टी तो तुमने नहीं दिखाई। तूने बोला छोड़ दी है, लेकिन उनको पता होगा कि तूने छोड़ी नहीं है। अगर
तो
मैं पता लगा रहा हूँ तो वो तो ज्यादा सियाने हैं ना यार।
छोड़ दूंगा सर, इसको छोड़ दूंगा।
जब तूने वो सारा लिंक बैठा लेंगे यहाँ पे, नेशनल लॉ स्कूल पटियाला का लड़का है, सिविल सर्विस की तैयारी में बैठा हुआ था, पब्लिक सेक्टर चाहता है, इमीडिएटली उनको पता लग जाएगा इसको तैयारी करनी है। सर ये बैठ के तैयारी करेगा, बाद में निकल जाएगा। समझ रहा तू? तो अब ये कार के सिविल सर्विस मत डाला यार बीच में।
हाँ जी सर, वो नहीं डाल,
रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है। और वही डाल के मैं सर अभी प्रैक्टिस कर रहा हूँ यहाँ पे कोर्ट में, और वहीं से कर रहा हूँ। और अगर मेरे को ऐसी जॉब मिलती है तो पब्लिक सेक्टर रेप्यूटेड जॉब है, क्यों करनी है। फिर उसके बाद जुडिशरी की तो आपने बड़ी क्रिटिसिज्म कर दी है यार, जजेस वगैरह का। नेगेटिव नहीं बोलना है कि पैसिव प्रोफाइल है। जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म सब जानते हैं क्या चीज होती है। तो
सर सिविल जज की ऐसी ही होती है ना, क्योंकि उनके पास
कर नहीं
पावर्स
पाओगे ना यार, कर नहीं पाओगे। आप कोई भी चीज को नेगेटिव डिफेंड नहीं कर पाओगे कि जज का तो काम सर ऐसा ही होता है। जज तो हर कोई यार, पावर होती है जज के पास तो। और आप ये बोलोगे नहीं सर मैं जज नहीं बनना चाहता, पैसिव है, तो जस्टिफाई नहीं कर पाओगे इंटरव्यू में। नेगेटिव एटीट्यूड रिफ्लेक्ट होता है, इससे जरूरत ही नहीं है हमें। सर जजेस के बारे में मैंने सोचा नहीं कभी, क्योंकि मेरे को लीगल प्रैक्टिस करने में ही इंटरेस्ट था, और इसीलिए मैंने नेशनल लॉ स्कूल से ज्वाइन किया था कि जजमेंट देना मेरे को लगता है कि सर आई मीन गिविंग जजमेंट, आई मे नॉट बी दैट नॉलेजेबल टू गिव जजमेंट सर, लेकिन हाँ केस फाइल करना और लर्न करना और उससे सीखना, दैट इज समथिंग व्हिच आई वांट।
डाइवर्सिफाइड नॉलेज बेस बोल दूंगा सर।
मतलब ये बोलना कि मैं लॉयर ही बनना चाहता था सर, तो मैं लॉयर बनना चाहता था, जज बनना नहीं चाहता था। एक्चुअली जब मैंने लॉ ज्वाइन किया था तो विद द पर्सपेक्टिव कि मैं लॉयर बनना चाहता हूँ। ये मत बोल कि जुडिशरी में स्टैग्नेंसी है, पैसिव रोल है और जजेस को ऐसा होता है, तो आपको उसको वो नहीं करने की जरूरत नहीं है, राइट?
ठीक है
क्योंकि
सर,
वो अलग डायरेक्शन ले जाएगा, फिर वो कुछ और आपको ट्रैप में ले लेंगे।
ठीक है सर।
तो यू नीड नॉट टू डू दैट। जैसे आपने बोला कि सर उनका तो स्टैग्नेंसी आ जाती है, वो वैसे नहीं होते हैं। कितने हमारे जो हाई कोर्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजेस हैं, आप देखो ना कितने वो एस्ट्यूट जजेस होते हैं।
नहीं सर वो तो होते हैं कि
सर मैंने जब नेशनल लॉ स्कूल पटियाला गया तो वहां पे हमें केस स्टडीज मिलती हैं, हमें एक्सपोजर करवाया जाता है अलग अलग लीगल डोमेन के लोगों का। तो वही एक एक्सपोजर मेरे को एक पब्लिक सेक्टर में जो कॉर्पोरेट लॉयर था उससे भी हुआ था, तो मेरे को अच्छा लगा सर, प्रोफाइल अच्छा लगा। वहीं से फिर मैंने डिसाइड किया कि किसी दिन किसी पब्लिक सेक्टर में जो है लॉयर का काम करने जाना चाहता हूँ और उसमें करूंगा। ये आपने बोलना है।
ठीक है सर, नहीं मैं कर दूंगा सर, 2 चेंजेस।
Exposure to role model is provided in national law schools, and that is something which you can always quote. This is the reason I decided to go for that.
यस सर।
इसका लगा HR लगा मेरे साथ। कब है आपका इंटरव्यू?
सर 8 अगस्त।
हाँ, तो HR लगाओ कल, आज शाम को टाइम लो और कल लगाओ HR। अभी गड़बड़ चल रही है आपका इंट्रोडक्शन।
ठीक है सर,
ये गलत डायरेक्शन पकड़ लेगा, प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा।
ठीक है सर, आज लगाते हैं।
आई डोंट थिंक सिविल सर्विस यू मेंशन इन द अर्लियर HR।
नहीं सर, वो मैंने
नई चीज इंट्रोड्यूस कर दे रहे हो ना यार। मॉक से पहले जो HR चलता है तो HR फिक्स कर लो ना एक बार कि हम, मैंने यही बोलना है सर,
सर
हमारा म्यूचुअल डिसाइड हो जाए तो अकॉर्डिंगली करना है। नई चीजें मत डालो फिर ना।
हाँ जी सर, क्योंकि आपने कहा था ना, क्योंकि मेरे दिमाग में वो था कि वो लॉयर वाला एस्पेक्ट है कि लॉयर हो तो करना क्यों नहीं चाहते, तो उसको मुझे ये था कि चलो उसको मिटिगेट कर देते हैं, उसको पीछे रख देते हैं। पर लेकिन मैं
अभी भी आप कॉर्पोरेट लॉ के लिए ही जा रहे हैं ना, तो लॉयर तो आप बनना चाहते हो।
ठीक है सर।
है ना, तो वो अकॉर्डिंगली करना है। ठीक है प्रतीक?
हाँ हाँ जी सर, ये कर
ओके
दूंगा। ओके सर।